Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the Operations Committee meeting of Tuesday, August the 11th, 2020 to order. Has roll call been taken?
Yes.
Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Seeing none. I need a mover and seconder for the adoption of the minutes of the previous meeting held on June the 9th. Can I get a mover and seconder, please? Councillor Lynch? Sorry, I can't see everybody. Councillor Wisniewski Moore. There you go. Okay. Any questions or comments about the minutes for the June 9th meeting? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Where there are no delegations, we'll move on to Mr. Perkins, the department report. Mr. Perkins, please.
Good morning, all. Is my mic working? Seems to be. Excellent, thank you. So if you can mute me, or actually turn it down.
I am
Excellent. Okay. Good morning, committee, and thank you through you, Chair, to committee. Our Operations Committee report this month. So number one is the project status update. So attached as Appendix A is the monthly project status report for information and committee. So additional project specific information is provided in the divisional reports. But if I may ask the Chair for some leeway here, I was actually going to do a presentation of this year's project. Would that be okay? It'll be a few moments, that's all. Excellent, thank you. Oh. So Rose, I need to be able to share my screen, please.
Lee, I'll deal with that. So just give me 1 second.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. So what I've done here is just, so this year, of course, our capital works program is approximately $20 million. So I just did up a quick little project review. I've been out visiting the projects and it's been absolutely amazing to see the work that goes on in and around the county. So right now we're looking at the overall county map. The ovals and circles are paving projects in these areas, and the stars are structures, be it a culvert or a bridge. So first up is River Road 1 in Mcnab, Rayside. And the budget for this is $500,000. And of course, this was the section here between Mast Road and Toner Road. It's near the golf course. And this was the project that was left over from last season. So actually they've completed it now. And this is what it looks like in that area. They've got curb on both sides now. And actually the quality work seems to be well. And we're going to have a 2-year warranty on this one. So we're pleased with the job. Our next one was County Road 1 in Horton. And again, this is the section here. Unfortunately, Google Maps is in the winter, so it's not as beautiful as the county is in the summer. But again, this is from Storyland Road all the way to Mullins Road. And of course, they pulverized, paved it. The project budget for this one was $945,617. And right now the project came in tendered at $810,000. So there's a small savings there. Our next road is County Road 5, Stone Road in Abbotston, Bromley. And the budget again for this one was $841,976, and it came in at $710. So again, this is essentially next to the township offices. This is actually only starting now in the last week or so. So there's no pictures of that one up yet. This is County Road 7, Forester Falls Road. So if committee will recall, we're actually working our way down Forester Falls. So this is a continuation of last year's project. So last year's paving basically ended here by the church. and now it's continued on down through and past Zion Line and the store that's there. Forget the name, sorry. But again, the budget for this one was 1.3 million, and the tender price came in at 1.2. And while I was there this day, they've got their entire road pulverized, the detours through Queens Line, and they're actually in the process of replacing this culvert as well, which is a culvert project you'll see in a little bit. And County Road 52, Burnstown Road, as you'll remember, this one was a hiccup last year. We met with the town of Renfrew and stuff. So this one here is to clean up that last section of Burnstown Road outside the town Renfrew limits. So again, this was a pulverized and repave right from where they ended off to the town limits. And the budget was 758,200, and right now we have 758,200 spent. So is actually the road has been repaved, and I think they're just finishing concrete work like inside the urban section. And then this is the part here. The budget was 782,270, but again, these are two projects, and this was the money that we allocated to the town of Renfrew to finish inside the town limits. So they haven't begun yet, but the plan is hopefully either this fall or they may delay till next spring. We'll see, but that's their urban section. And later on in our committee report, you'll see a report that came back from their geotech engineers that we were just doing a shave and pave here, and that's what we allocated the budget for. So, but we can talk about that a little bit later. And of course, this is the urban section of Raglan Street. And at the time of these photos, as you can see, there's a number of curbs being replaced, and the catch basins are being replaced and repaired as they go along. And as you can see, the road was pretty much past a serviceable life, so it was in the asset management plan to be redone. So in Greater Madawaska is County Road 65 or Centennial Lake Road, and this is a 4.76 kilometer stretch of road. The budget for it was 1.2, and the tender came in at 1.0, 1.1. And it's a large section of road. It's basically what the motorcyclists like the best is the twisty sections. So we've had to add some extra chevrons and things here because the road is really well done. This was in the spring when I was out there. I've been there since. It's completely done now. This is when the brush cutting contractor was there. Our next project is Simpsons Pit Road in Killaloo, Haggerty. And this is, again, the continuation of completing Simpsons Road from Mask Road to Byers Creek. And the budget was 675, and the tender came in at 491. And again, this is a section of the road on County Road 67. And this is the Google shot. So they actually, I believe they're starting work in the next week or two on this one as well. And it's a pulverized repave. So that'll be a really nice section of County Road 67. And Foymount Road in Banished Valley went to Banished Excavating. And the budget for this one was 1.6, and it came in over budget at 1.7. And this is the section of Foymount Road that they're going to complete. So basically, if you know where Heideman's Mill is, it's near that area. And that's where exactly Heideman's Mill right there. And it's going to be a pulverized repave, and again, the widened shoulders. So it'll be nice when it's done, because that road's, and there's a couple of sections back this way that are going to be straightened out a little bit. So they had to do some pole line reallocation and stuff. And then on to the Latchford Bridge and Guinea Road is 2.353 kilometers, and the budget for this one was 630. And again, this one is going to be over budget. The tender came in at 830. So this section of is just past Latchford Bridge on the Palmer Road on 515. I'm not sure if committee will recall, but in 2019, this actually flooded right here after the Palmer Ridge Road. So we're actually raising this road up several inches to hopefully alleviate if we ever get that flooding again. That we had to close this road for a duration of time during the flooding. So the goal is now to pulverize, repave, reshape, and raise that road up enough so that when the water does hopefully not come, but if it comes again, it'll be below the road. And then on Quadville Road, County Road 515, Cargus to 1400 Quadville Road is 5.58 kilometers, and the budget for this one was 1.1 or 1.2 million, and it came in at 1 million. And again, this section of road is on our asset management plan to be replaced. So this is what is obviously beautiful country out there. So hopefully that'll be going ahead now in the next couple of weeks as well. And then on the structure. So this is Bourne Road Bridge, and the budget for this one was 700, and it came in at 682, 457. And you'll see right now where the location is right here on the old Highway 62. And glad to say that the bridge is installed, and hopefully within the next week, this will be paved and opened up and good to go. So we're really excited about that one. Our next one is the Sylvester Powers Bridge, and the budget for this is 600,000, and we're doing this with our internal day labor crew. And this is located down just south of Douglas on Keneally Road. And as you can see, they've already installed the concrete culvert. This was when I was down this day, they were just getting ready, prepared. They had to reroute the river around where the new culvert is going. And this here's the Banished River Valley. And this is the one that caused us grief back in March, because the budget for this one was 950. And of course it came in at 1.683, including the engineering fees. So if committee will recall, back in March, we actually decided if we had savings, or if necessary, we take it from tangible capital assets. So, but this is the Banished River. It's up on the far end of the Banished River. Provincial Park is near it, where it crosses over. And that project actually has been going quite well. They've actually finished this lane now and moved on to the other lane. So they're doing well. Corrington is the contractor as well. So again, local valley contractors doing the work here. So the Madawaska River Bridge, as committee will recall, this is the second year of the 2-year phased project here on Madawaska. So the total budget was 2.7, and right now we're at 2.6. So this should come in on budget. But this is location right down in downtown Aaron Pryor, and needless to say, the people of Aaron Pryor will be quite pleased when this is done, because it bungs up traffic quite a bit, as you can see. Cameron Street Bridge in Killaloo, Haggerty, Richards is the one that's just off the downtown. So that's been limited to 4 tons now for a number of years. So actually, Taylor's in the process of getting that one ironed out. So hopefully that'll be going ahead now in the next couple of weeks. That's actually down to 1 lane now, and the tonnage has been reduced. So this is actually they just pulled this bridge up and put a new one down. So minimal amount of work to do. So hopefully they'll get it done soon. And again, committee will recall from last year when we had to go back and fix the bank on Petawa River Bridge. So this was a $700,000 unbudgeted emergency repair. So what that did for us was there were 2 projects on our project list that got pushed out until next year to make up for the $700,000. But pleased to say that the work is done by internal forces, and it looks really good. Obviously we've been checking on it. Important to note that next year, Petawa Boulevard is going to be resurfaced, hopefully, shave and paved. But this bridge actually begins its engineering studies next year. So we'll find out what exactly needs to be done on Petawa River Bridge. So, and then Coles Creek Bridge, located in Kilolu, Haggerty, Richards. And the budget for this one was 1.6, and it came in at 2.1. So again, as committee will recall, we don't get a tight number on the budget till the year before. So obviously the bridges seem to come in over budget, but our road projects seem to be on budget or under budget for the most part. But anyways, that's this is the location of it here on Queen Street. Yeah, Queen Street in Kilolu, Haggerty. It's just not far from the church there. And again, Corrington is doing this work for us. And when I was out the other day, it's all going well. And as you can see, it's a phased job. It's going to be done this summer, but they had to remove half the road first and then the other half later. So yeah, it's going along quite well, actually. And hopefully these are the projects now that we will make some savings on, but we can't promise anything. But these are being done with internal forces. So this is the Bromley Culvert in Foymount, and that's the location of it. And this one here is the Halliday Creek one. And if committee will recall, the photo I have here is from 2019 when it actually flooded out. That was the gentleman that was in there on the farm by himself. So actually we're doing this internal forces, and they'll replace those culverts, of course. And all this has been temporarily fixed up, so since this photo was taken. And the Osceola Culvert down on Nicksburg Road down in Douglas, or Abbotston Bromley, is people, when they go by this one, they won't actually see any road work being done because it's all being done underneath. They're actually installing the culvert inside the culvert, so that's going quite well. Cluches are looking after that one for us. There's a number of little knick-knacky issues, but of course, Taylor and the team are working through it. And the O'Neill Culvert, again, this is going to be done by internal forces, located down Pond Valley Road. And as you can see, the internal forces, they have already got the culverts in place, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks, they'll have this one buttoned up as well. And again, like we won't know all the budget, all the numbers until October. So, and then the Eagan Culvert, as you can see, is located here on just near. Sorry, it's on. I can't see. It was Eagan Culvert, so yeah, it's on Eagan Lawn. Sorry, so it's just a regular culvert, and it's passed on asset management plan to be replaced. So again, we'll do that internally. Constant Creek Culvert in Ferguson Lake Road, Greater Madawaska. So this one is budgeted at $60,000, and it's been tendered at 25. So, and this is a picture of where it'll be located on Ferguson Lake Road. And these are all photos of Ferguson Lake Road, sorry, which we'll chat about now in a little while. But yeah, this is the bridge that was replaced a number of years ago. And then the Goots Culvert, which was budgeted at 300, is coming in at 287. And again, that's on the Forester Falls Road. And that's the picture I showed you earlier of the road work that they're doing. So they're actually, that culvert is part of that contract and part of that road work. So. And that's the projects for this summer. And knock wood, right now everything is going along as scheduled and as planned. So if Chair would like, I'll continue on, or we can have some questions or come back to
it. Thank you. I think there's a lot of information there. So I'll ask committee if there's any questions they have on Mr. Perkins' report before we move on, because there's a lot of things there. There may be several questions. So anyone with any questions or comments on this item 1 report from Mr. Perkins?
It's Dave. I don't know whether you can see me or not.
No, I can't, Dave.
Okay, I'll get that fixed in a minute. I do have one issue I want to bring up with Lee on the Burnstown Road. I was under the understanding last year that we were putting paved shoulders, and I toured the road this morning before the meeting, and it appears from the Mcnab line to the town of Renfrew, we didn't accomplish any paved shoulders.
No, that's correct. This is the thank you, Councillor Bennett, and through you, Chair, to Councillor Bennett. This is the base coat. So next year the overlay goes over on the whole thing. So I can actually get you the minutes if you want, but that's the overlay next year will be completed with this hardened shoulders.
Okay, I'll wait till next year to thank you for the good job you did this year then.
Yeah, actually it went really well. Thank you. I'll pass along the kind words.
Thanks, Dave. Anyone else? I can't see everybody. Mr. Morrow, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Through you to committee, I just wanted to thank Lee and his team. This has been a very ambitious year with probably approximately $20 million in capital. And, so far, like Lee mentioned, so far so good. So pretty proud of the guys for doing much of the work themselves and managing a significant amount of contracts. And it's been going well, and we'll see how the rest of the summer goes. So please pass that on, Lee, to your folks.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Warden Robinson, please.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to thank Lee for the slideshow as well. It'll be very difficult to get out to every one of those areas, and so being able to see it live or see it through the slides is very beneficial, certainly. So thanks for that. It's a great idea.
My pleasure. I thought it was really important. Sorry, through you, Chair, the committee. I thought it was just really important to see, even during this pandemic and stuff, that the Engineering Public Works Department is working at full capacity, and we're very proud of the fact that we're injecting $20 million into the local economy.
Thank you. Anyone else? I can see you now, Dave.
Yeah, I got there.
So I had my comments as well to Lee. He certainly gets out around and views the projects that are going on throughout the county. Provides us with complete detailed reports and now photographs and everything. And I don't know about others, but photograph means a lot more to me than a report on paper. I seem to be able to understand the pictures better. So anyway, if there's no more questions on item 1, we'll move on to item 2, capital program variance report. Mr. Perkins, please.
Thank you, Chair, and through you to committee. Item 2 on our report is the capital variance report. And again, at the indulgence of Chair, I'd like to share this report with the group.
Yes, please do.
Thank you, sir. So for committee, I just wanted to walk you through this. This is, of course, you'll see this later in Mike's report as well. But these are, as committee's used to, this is our projects and our budget and our projected for the year end. So I just wanted to get you to the bottom line. So right now, as of June, we are expecting to be over budget by $619,353. And I just wanted to make sure committee was aware of it. But I always bring everybody back to the Banished River bridge, which was made in March committee before everything occurred, of course, and it was $600,000 over budget at that time. So that's essentially where the 600,000 is coming from. Now we're still trying to achieve some savings, but again, from direction from that March meeting, we may have to take money from tangible capital assets to cover this year's capital project. So we will see. We're not sure, but I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of it and just bring your attention to it, that the potential is that we may be over budget this year. But again, it's not until October, November when the numbers start coming in for the projects that we do internally and stuff like that. If committee will recall, last year, Bourne Street in Mcnab Rayside was a culvert that we did internally, and we actually saved $300,000 at the end of the season by doing it internally. So there are potential savings, but as it sits, we may be that much over budget. So with that, I'll carry on with my report. If there's no questions. Oh, sorry.
Councillor Wisniewski-Moore, please. I can't unmute myself. Picture's gone.
Oh, she's Councillor Wisniewski. There you go.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I didn't see that report in our package, Lee. Would you be able to send me a copy of that? It's really good information, and I'd like to be able to share it with my council if you don't mind. Now, maybe I went through and I can't find it, and then when I went through last night, I couldn't see it. But anyways, I apologize, but could you send me it, please?
I certainly will.
Thank you.
It is on page 11, actually, of the package.
Page 11?
Yeah.
Okay, just a second.
Appendix 2.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
It's so small that it looks different than what you did. So thank you. Sorry, Lee. It's a really good piece of information. So thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. And with Chair's blessing, I'll carry on. Oh, sorry. The warden had a question.
Warden Robinson, please.
Thank you. It's more of a comment. So if we take away the 600,000 for the overage of the bridge, we're down to basically 20,000 over budget. And, I'm confident we'll be able to find that money. And I think it's much better than, taking money for roads and then having a surplus of over $1 million. We needed to get this work done, and I'm very, very pleased. So congratulations to you and your team, Lee.
Thank you again, Warden. I'll certainly pass along kind words.
Thank you.
And so, thank you, Chair, and through you, the committee carrying out the report. Course number 3 is the monthly treasurer's report, and that's attached for your review. Item 4 is Garrison Petawa. So on July 29th, 2020, myself and Mr. Morrow, CAO, we had an informal staff-to-staff meeting with the new base commander and his team, Colonel Bass and his senior civil staff at Garrison Petawa, and we discussed a number of items of common interest. Item 5 is Highway 148 rehabilitation. So attached as Appendix 4 is correspondence from the town of Laurentian Valley expressing concerns with the proposed T intersection at the corner of Highway 148 and County Road 40, which is Greenwood Road. The township is requesting that the county review the intersection in order to provide the best road design possible to meet the needs of the community. Item 6 is speed and signage. So attached as Appendix 5 is an email stream between Miss Susan Englund of Brayburn Estates and myself regarding road noise and speed issues along County Road 508, Calabogie Road, and County Road 52, Burnstown Road. So Miss England has been advised that any traffic sign and speed adjustments requests are required to come by resolution from the lower tier municipality to the operations committee for review. And item 7 is no parking signs on County Road 508. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Chair.
A question for Mr. Morrow. You there, Paul?
Yes, sir. I'm just a little slow.
Well, you probably know what my question is. This is coming from my township. I think I need to turn the meeting over to the co-chair, Councillor Keller. Leave the room.
I would disagree with that in that, Chair, I don't think you have a pecuniary interest in this. You're still the head of council.
Item 7 is you. Is from Lindsay.
Well, I'm sorry, it's item 7
Oh.
that I'm wanting to
Recused.
that.
So do you have a direct, I can't make the decision for you, Chair. You have to make it on your own. However, and but the test is, do you have a direct interest in it personally?
Well, I actually feel that there's definitely a perceived interest in me, and it does, as head of council, it does refer or could involve expenditures in my township.
But it doesn't, it's not your personal expenditure, sir.
Councillor Emo.
Yeah, and just to add to what Paul's saying respectfully, it's not in front of your house. So there's no, frankly, it's not in front of your house. So there's no direct benefit to you or your property, as Paul is suggesting, because were that the case, I should recuse myself from a conversation about Raglan Street, because my street eventually comes to Raglan Street at some point. So it's, as Paul has said, it's your decision, but I personally wouldn't recuse myself for something like this.
Okay, thank you. Then I will carry on. Mr. Perkins, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee.
Lee, your mic's turned off.
Sorry, thank you, Warden, and through you to committee, Chair. Item 7 is the no parking signs, County Road 508. So attached as Appendix 6 is an email request from Lindsay Lee, CAO Clerk, on behalf of the Township of Mcnab Rayside Council for consideration to post a no parking sign along the roadside of County Road 508, Calabogie Road, at the Burnstown Beach, and to reduce the speed limit from 80 to 60. Item 8 is the Renfrew Street geotechnical report. So attached as Appendix 7 is a draft geotechnical report that was provided to the town of Renfrew from Gemtech for the reconstruction of County Road 52, Raglan Street and Ayerth Street, Boulevard, in the town of Renfrew. This section of road is in poor condition, and the town of Renfrew is requesting the county to consider a full-depth reconstruction to provide better value for the $1.2 million project instead of the proposed shave and pave. Item 9 is Highway 60 and County Road 30 intersections within the village of Golden Lake. Attached as Appendix 8 is a letter drafted by Warden Robinson to Minister Caroline Mulroney, thanking her for moving forward with the commissioning of an operational review by the Ministry of Transportation, Ontario Traffic Engineering Consultant, to further investigate potential improvements to the intersection of Highway 60 and County Road 30, which is Lake Dory Road. Item 10 is signage is for County Road 508 and the Eagle's Nest Trail. So attached as Appendix 9 is a resolution and agreement signed by the Township of Greater Madawaska authorizing the County of Renfrew to proceed with the purchase and installation of solar pedestrian crossing system on County Road 508, Calabogie Road, at the Eagle's Nest Trail. The Township of Greater Madawaska will provide 50% of the cost to a maximum of $11,136 towards this project. Thus, the total cost of the project is $22,272,300, HST included. This project will be included in the 2021 budget. Sorry, that's a typo there. Actually, this work is going ahead right now. Cahoon Road Culvert. So attached as Appendix 10 is a request from the Township of Abbotston Bromley to review a culvert on Cahoon Road to determine if the structure will be accepted under the jurisdiction of the County of Renfrew. Staff will review the culvert and determine if it meets the criteria. Item 12, attached as Appendix 11, is a letter sent to the Honorable Carol Mulroney, Minister of Transportation, by the Township of North Algona Wilberforce, requesting that the Province of Ontario to consider expanding the speed reduction zone on Highway 60 to include the area between Crans Road and McMillan Road. Item 13 is Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, the Green Funding Stream. So attached as Appendix 12 is a notification from the Ministry of Infrastructure advising that the County of Renfrew was unsuccessful in their application under the first intake of the Green Funding Stream of the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, the ICIP, for the replacement of County Structure C250, which is the Pleasant Valley Culvert. Item 14 is the Calvary Baptist Church Killaloo retaining wall. So the following recommendation was tabled at the June 9th, 2020 meeting of Operations Committee, that the Operations Committee directs staff to remove the existing retaining wall, landscape grade, and reseed the area of the Calvary Baptist Church located at 148 Queen Street, Killaloo, Ontario. So right now, staff are currently waiting on a survey data to assist with solidifying the ownership of the roadway and the original retaining wall, and we'll bring this item to the committee once it becomes available. So with that, that's all the items. Do you want to review these before we move on to resolutions? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Lee. We'll go back and I'll ask if anyone has thought of any other questions on item 1, the project status report. Anything on 2, capital program variance report? Item 3, the monthly treasurer's report. Item 4, Garrison Petawa meeting. Item 5, Highway 148 rehabilitation. Item 6, speed and signage, County Road 508, County Road 52. I have one comment I can make on that. In the information, Ms. Anglin was advised to contact the Township of Mcnab Rayside about this. Up to yesterday, she has not contacted the township in regards to this, and so I don't know whether it's going to move forward, try to move forward with it or not. So item 7, no parking.
Question from Peter.
I'm sorry.
Question from Councillor Emo.
Councillor Emo, please.
Yeah, no question. I spend a bit of time on that through the intersection and roadway, and it's always been a problem. You know, the greatest thing that ever happened was the 4-way stop at that intersection 10 years ago. But it's still, you know, when you read through the comments about people accelerating and making noise, it's true. But that, you know, we can't regulate noise, but it's nice to see that they're going to do something in terms of regulating speed and stuff. And I'm sure I'll be one of the first people caught through there, but I'll try and remember to go slow.
Thank you. You're absolutely right about the noise problem. It's everywhere with small vehicles with years ago used to be referred to as tomato can mufflers, and the larger pickup trucks with there's even one around our area that has exhaust pipes coming up by the cab, the size of a tractor for a tractor trailer diesel motor. So that is a police problem. They can lay charges for excessive noise or unwarranted noise. However, I'll leave it at that. Okay. Item 7, are we on item 7? Item 7 now, no parking signs and reduced speed limit for County Road 508. I think everyone who's been following this understand it's kind of a similar thing to Eagle's Nest. In busy times in the summer we've had, the parking on 508 has been on both sides, although there is a no parking sign on the west side of the roadway there. And the speed limit across in front of the park area is 80. And you just go past the park and it changes to 60. And I feel that better serve, be safer for residents or people using that roadway if the 60 sign was moved back to the other end of the park. Any other questions or comments on that one? No. Item 8, Renfrew Street geotechnical report. Councillor Emo.
Yes, not an engineer. Struggled through this a couple of times, and I guess for me it comes down to a question of you know, based on the study, and I don't have an opinion on this one way or the other. I just want a decision so that we can either do it this year or put it off. But is it and to Lee, and is the report, as I understand it, and I think from past conversations, there was an awareness that the roadway reconstruction that's being proposed was of limited time value in terms of how long it would last. And there was the realization that we'd have to go back and do something 10, 15 years from now once the pavement broke down again. So is this a surprise to you, and does it fit within that decision model that we used the first time around? Or does this cause us to revisit it? Excuse me.
Perkins, please.
Thank you, Chair, and through you to Councillor Iman and the committee. We believe that the county roads are built to a higher structure underneath. Obviously, they were highways at one time. Right now, it's in our asset management plan for rehab in 20 years' time, or whatever the asset management plan is. So we continue to just shave and pave roads because we believe the structures underneath are quite adequate for what we're doing. The issue that we may have here in the future is obviously where the town of Renfrew is going to do their underground works. We'll have to have proper geotechnical reports from them for compaction and stuff like that. But in the actual roadway bed, there's no structural issues. Yeah, the road is in bad shape, but the structural issues are no different than anywhere else in the county as far as we can tell. So right now, the budgeted item is that, well, 533,000 we're contributing to the project. So.
Thank you. Councillor Emo.
And if I may, then with that and those comments, after county council, then a letter will be sent suggesting proceed with the allocation as agreed upon in the bylaw 6 or 8 months ago, or whatever, 4 months ago. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments on item 8? Item 9, Highway 60 and County Road 30 intersection, Village of Golden Lake.
Excuse me, Chair. Councillor Lynch had his hand up.
Thank you, Chair. It's on number 9. Visualizing the road at Renfrew. If we're doing the infrastructure underneath, we're going to take away our base that we said was good, right? So with the changing of our good stuff to something else, that's going to cost us more money, correct?
Perkins, please.
No, the theory is that where they replace the underground, they'll bring it back to the spec that's there. So, they'll bring it back up to granular B, granular A, granular B, and pavement. So it should theoretically be the same, but as you know, if you cut a hole in your sweater and try to patch it in, it's never ever the same. So, but we'll monitor it and we'll make sure the proper geotechnical reports are in place. So thank you.
Thank you.
Through you, Chair, Councilor Lynch.
Thank you. Anyone else on item 8? We'll move back to item 9, Highway 60, County Road 30 intersection. Are any questions or comments on that one? Item 10, signage, County Road 508 and Eagle's Nest Trail. Councillor Emo?
Yes, thank you. I'm glad to see this. Spend a bit of time up there in the fall and winter months. And even in the winter, this past winter, there were 50 or 60 cars between the parking lot and along both sides of the road. And the parking lot, as committee may be aware, is on the bit of a top of a hill with a deep dip towards Calabogie and a not as deep a dip towards Mountain Chute area. And in the summertime, I think I counted 120 cars on both sides of the road on the shoulders, and then 30, I think, in the parking lot, are very close to that number. So it's a pretty highly used area. So anything you can do, and this makes a lot of sense for safety, is a good thing. And I think this model might also be used for other trail openings that we have across the county. So if we can document it and it might and publicize it a little bit, some of the other trail openings, I think, across the county, across our networks, could benefit from a similar approach. It's the right approach, I think, for that area, especially given the dynamics of the roadway.
Thank you. Any other comments on that one? Item 11, the Culhane Road Culvert. Item 12, speed reduction, Highway 60. 13, investing in Canada infrastructure program. Green non-funding. Councillor Emo?
Yeah, I'm sort of curious. With COVID-19 and the need to restart the economy, I'm not aware of any money being actually let out, and I'm a bit concerned, and I'm hoping that there is somebody from the public or press sitting in here, but I don't see that. But I'm a little bit concerned because I have a feeling we're going to get a report at the end of the year, at the end of the government's fiscal year, both sets of government saying, oh, there's X number of dollars not being utilized. We couldn't get it out the door. So I'm really curious if at some point we can send a letter in asking what percentage of the money, how much was applied for under these individual streams. And then secondly, how much of it was given out. And if they can give us their top 10 reasons why some of them weren't accepted, because I know when you call back and ask on an individual project, you get a lot of circular discussion. And at the end of the day, you go for a coffee and you move on because you haven't learned anything. So I'm curious. I don't want to see, at the end of the government's fiscal year, both governments saying, oh, there was no need for it. Obviously, we couldn't give it out. There was $1 billion and we could only give out 250,000. So we've done a great job. Thanks. And we move on. In the meantime, infrastructure struggled. So I think if we can have a coordinated series of questions that we ask at the end of the, maybe end of October or November or something on infrastructure in general and on these funding streams to try and get some kind of an answer, because I really suspect we're going to see, they're going to be patting themselves on the back, say, we had a whole pile of money, but nobody wanted it, which is untrue. That's my rant for the day, baby.
Thank you. I think it was an excellent rant. Yeah. And I'm looking at Mr. Perkins to formulate some letters to ask those questions that you put forward, Councillor Emo. Warden Robinson, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just in response to Councillor Emo, I do know that the D&P department are working closely to figure out just exactly how many projects within our 17 municipalities and the county of Renfrew we have applied through the various streams to get we should have an exact number. So what we've applied for and what we have or have not gotten. So, and instead of, you know, asking them, we can show them what didn't flow through.
Councillor Emo, please.
Thank you. And respectfully, might I suggest that, you know, if possible, the Warden's Caucus could do that for Eastern Ontario, because, and then that might give us some indication to what different regions get across the province, because we felt for some time that, you know, since we don't have tunnels that trains run through, we often don't get heard. So, you know, that might be helpful in the long term for the Warden's Caucus.
Thank you. Councillor Lynch, please.
Thank you, Chair. To the warden. Warden, are you, to confirm you're doing the county, like we're going to count Arnprior, Mcnab, Rayside, all the applications we've made, and that they were all unsuccessful, and you're doing one rather than each individual municipality right in asking the same thing?
Warden Robinson, please.
Certainly, my understanding is that the staff are surveying every one of our municipalities to find out what was applied for and what was given or not given. There was a presentation made last week to a all-party committee around the economic recovery and what's happening in Ontario. So we gave some figures out. We want to make sure those figures are correct. But at the end of the day, you know, we can, it certainly doesn't stop any municipality from advocating about their own issues, but certainly is countywide, we will do that. And I'm certainly going to take Councillor Emo's suggestion to take it to the OWC as well, so we can really see what's happening in Eastern Ontario.
Thank you. Mr. Morrow, please.
Thank you, Chair. I was wondering if committee would indulge Mr. Kelly for a minute to speak about the process that he's undertaking to collect this data.
I think that would be okay. Mr. Kelly, please.
Thank you, Paul, and through you, Chair, to the committee. So the conversation is actually exactly correct. We are trying to survey all the local municipalities. So of course, our data is only as good as the information we get in. There is no blanket email, if you will, or blanket state of data that we can get, set of data from the province. There is a chart that we're working on, a spreadsheet from Infrastructure Ontario that they've accumulated. However, that brings in different programs stretching back before, I'll say, the ICIP was really launched. The Northern Rural Stream, I think, was the first stream that was launched late mid 2019, I think. And of course, the rec streams are just being announced right now, the Recreation and Culture Stream, which I don't believe anybody in Renfrew County has been successful for, unless I hear otherwise, and people haven't stood up screaming and shouting that their rinks are being rejuvenated yet. So yes, the survey data is being asked of your CAOs. So if you are speaking to them or their counterparts, given holidays, it is tough. We're trying to assemble that information. A colleague of mine at Bonisher Valley is also doing some of this work, and at Gilchrist, the CAO there. So we are working in tandem. And I guess it is worth noting, Warden and Paul, that a delegation at AMO has been given to the Minister, the Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Infrastructure for next Tuesday. So we are assembling that information in time for that meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any questions arising out of Mr. Kelly's comments? Anything else on item 13? Item 14, Calvary Baptist Church, Killaloo retaining wall. Questions or comments? Seeing none, I guess we'll move on to resolutions.
Chair, if I may, Councillor Bennett had his hand up, sir.
Sorry, Dave, didn't see it.
Great, that's good. Thank you, Chair. My question is to Lee. Lee, have we got any timeline on when this paperwork might come back? I did take the opportunity to drive up there, and I think it's pretty obvious that there's roughly a 3-meter cut in that road that occurred at some point during construction. But that's where it came to an end for me, because I could not find enough information to say when that was actually accomplished. But it was, it's quite a cut. And then you look across the road, 80 feet across the road, there's a retaining wall there to hold the earth back also on the other side of the road. So it lends itself to saying that retaining wall was put in place during construction period. But don't have a timeline on that. And I'm glad to see that your staff is trying to find some data.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins.
Thank you, Chair, and through you to Councillor Bennett. Right now, it's actually with a survey company just to delineate where the lines are, but we unfortunately cannot find any information as to when that road work was done, either through the office here or MTO in Kingston. No one seems to have they just assume that when it was done as per how MTO done all the other roads in the communities. So there's a number of these retaining walls around. So, but once we get the right of way, we do have a legal opinion that we'll share once we get all the paperwork in.
Thank you.
Councillor Emo, please.
Good. Thank you for the update. And to Councillor Bennett, I'm sure your family hates the words, the innocent words, let's go for a Sunday drive as much as mine does. Either a wayside or a road.
Actually, I cheated a little bit. I get up early Sunday morning and go for the drive. That way I have no arguments when I'm driving.
I use that ploy, Councillor Emo, with my wife when we go for a drive. And she always knows as soon as she's in the vehicle which road or bridge or area are we going to see today.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's wrong. I'm not sure what's wrong with an ice cap and a waste disposal site. Like I would think that'd be a suitable reward.
Interesting, and very interesting in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on, Mr. Perkins, to resolutions, item 15.
Thank you, Chair, through you, committee. Resolution number 15 is request for road assumption for Ferguson Lake Road from the Township of Greater Madawaska. So the recommendation here is that the Operations Committee recommend that Council not assume responsibility for Ferguson Lake Road in the Township of Greater Madawaska as part of the county road system at the next session of County Council. And further that staff be directed to communicate with the Township staff the requirements for road assumption. So I'll actually read you the background here. It's quite lengthy, but bear with me, please. So the background attached for committee's information as Appendix 13 is a letter dated April 16, 2019 from Township of Greater Madawaska requesting road rationalization for the possibility of transferring a number of roads. So Ferguson Lake Road, sections of Keneally Mountain Road, Mount St. Patrick, and Flat Road to the County of Renfrew. And again, that's referenced on your attached as Appendix 14. So due to the seasonal use of Ferguson Lake Road, 2 separate traffic counts were obtained as it was assumed that winter traffic to and from Calabogie Peaks Resort could possibly skew the tallies. So the results from September 2nd, 2019, as Appendix 15 indicates that the average daily traffic was 91 vehicles. A second count was conducted on March 9th, again as Appendix 16, which indicates an average traffic count of 90 vehicles. So the department, the Public Works and Engineering Department here at the county utilizes the Ontario Good Roads Association road rationalization criteria and weighting system, which is attached as Appendix 17. So when evaluating assumption requests. So the document highlights 12 criterion and associated weightings that assess whether or not a roadway meets upper tier standards as an urban city or center collector or an urban arterial extension. It also provides a cumulative cutoff point rating of 6 for the evaluation process. So attached as Appendix 18 are the results for the roadway using the theory that the road must meet either criterion for urban center connector or the criterion for urban arterial extension. So with 3 points for criterion 1 plus all 4 criteria for traffic speed criterion 9, road surfaces criterion 10, traffic volumes as criterion 11, and road right-of-way as criterion 12, worth a combination of 3 points or other combinations of criteria to have a total weight of 6 points. So a total of 40% was obtained using all criteria as outlined in the Ontario Good Roads Association document. Using the 5 specific criterion, 1, 9, 10, 11, and 12, Ferguson Lake Road scores an 8 out of a possible 36 for a rating of 22%. A total of 100% is required by the Ontario Good Roads standards for an upper tier to assume the roadway. So historically, the following 3 principles have been employed in road rationalization reviews. So upper tier roads that are primary transportation corridors should provide continuous roadway services throughout the county. Upper tier roads should be capable of being upgraded to a reasonable standard consistent with the service provided, and upper tier roads should represent the shortest practical route along existing roads and streets. So again, the background here for road rationalization is this is the research from, actually it's from Mr. Boland that I found when I was looking through the last time Line Killen Road was trying to be uploaded. So over the past I'll just read the last paragraph. So under the second last paragraph, under the past several years, a number of local municipalities have requested certain roads be considered for inclusion in the county system. The requests have been reviewed on an individual basis, and in each instance, it was determined that the road under review did not satisfy the criterion required to be the county road system after the connection to Highway 417, it was determined that the road under review did not satisfy the criterion required to be a county road. In addition, one road, Hendrick Drive in Aaron Pryor, was removed from the county road system after the connection to Highway 417 was eliminated with the construction of the 4-lane section of highway. Hendrick Drive was then transferred back to the town of Aaron Pryor in 2005. The present county road system consists of 810 kilometers of roads and 256 structures. And again, if the chair would entertain, I do have some photos of Ferguson Lake Road that I would like to share with the committee just to show the status.
Certainly.
Thank you. Please, one moment. I'll just share my screen. So Ferguson, Greater Madawaska has been updating this road over the last number of years. But as you'll see from the photos here, we're still, obviously the right of way is not full width that the county requires. And of course the road structure is not up to county specifications either, but just some photos. And of course, there's a number of areas that need to be straightened, and again, and this is a bridge that the county replaced a number of years ago, and it's a Lissard bridge, as you can see. And again, the approaches there's two large turns that come around it, so it actually needs some realignment for it to fit. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Chair.
Any way to enlarge the pictures? I've just got little 5 little individual pictures that are the best to
sorry.
view.
No, that's the best I can get. Sorry, my apologies. Can everyone else see the photos? Can you see the photos, Councillor Lynch? Sorry, you're.
Oh, we can see the thumbnails, Lee.
Oh, sorry.
Small.
Okay, hold on. My apologies. Okay, here we go. How's that? So again, this is a lot of, obviously, a lot of realignment is going to be required. This is actually on a newer section that the Township of Madawaska has repaired. My apologies. What am I looking for? And just I'll share one final photo with you. Maybe. As you can see, the road is in a lot of disrepair, but again, the town of Greater Madawaska is working on getting this road up to spec. One other thing I'll share with you while I have you is, sorry, please bear with me. Is this road is located obviously down here in Greater Madawaska. So right now they actually have a Highway 35, which connects basically to Calabogie up to Highway 132, and this potential section that they're offering to assume now is actually Ferguson Lake Road, which would be a secondary route up through this area through Mount St. Patrick and then would connect on 132 again. So using the criterion that the Ontario Good Roads gives us, they already have a connection that meets all the criterion for that road. So having a secondary road is not necessary. So, but anyways, I leave it at that, and I look forward to committee's review.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on item 15? Councillor Emo?
Yeah, I'm glad for the report because that's helpful in understanding there is a criteria, and I don't mean that with any sarcasm. It's good that there is a criteria because I'll have to confess I started this conversation probably 2005 or so at various times, and you know, the Township of Greater Madawaska has followed along with upgrading that road. The confusion, I think, or the difficulty for many local councils is when you take a look at some of the county roads in the northern and eastern part of the county, and I've heard the discussion about two roads being side by side, and it doesn't make any sense. And then I drive some of the roads up in the northern end of the county and note there's a county road seemingly within eye distance going the same direction. So I think that's always going to be a struggle for individual communities to accept that there is now a standard, and at some point there may be a request to apply that standard a little more rigorously and download some of those other roads. I'm not prepared to make that suggestion today or tomorrow or anytime soon, but I'm glad there's a criteria and it's explained, and I think that helps as a roadmap going forward for folks when they want to consider some of their high traffic, long roads, being assumed by the county. So thank you for the report.
Okay, my apologies. I before entering into conversation, I should have had a mover and seconder for this resolution. Could I move by Councillor Emo, seconded by Councillor Wisniewski Moore? And we've had comments and an explanation about the resolution. So all those in favor of the recommendation? That's carried. Thank you. We'll move on to item 16, bylaws. I need a mover and seconder, please. Councillor Lynch, Councillor Bennett. Mr. Perkins, please.
Thank you, Chair, and through you to committee. Item 16 is engineering services for County Road 51, Petawa Boulevard. So the recommendation here is that the Operations Committee recommend that County Council adopt a bylaw to award request for proposals RFP 2020-48 submitted by AECom Canada Limited out of Ottawa, Ontario for the transportation study and detailed design of County Road 51, Petawa Boulevard. Intersections from County Road 26, Bourne Street, northerly 1.2 kilometers to Garrison, Petawa, in the town of Petawa in the amount of $247,904, excluding HST, at the next session of County Council, and further that funding for this program be allocated from the Tangible Capital Assets Reserve. And with that, I'll give committee some background. So the background here was, as directed by County Council on May 27th, 2020, a request for proposals for engineering services for the transportation study, as well as the preliminary and detailed design of County Road 51, Petawa Boulevard, for the intersections from County Road 26, Bourne Street, northerly 1.2 Carson. So there were 3 proposals were received: AECom, BT Engineering, and JL Richards, and the amounts are there shown. This project is not included in the approved 2020 budget, and staff are proposing that the funds be allocated from the Tangible Capital Assets Renewal Reserves. And requests for proposals were processed in accordance to the County of Renfrew's corporate policy GA01. And if I may I speak to this for just a moment, just to give you some more. So what we're foreseeing here is exactly what you were talking about earlier. Is we're hoping that the federal government is going to release infrastructure funds. So this would give us an on-the-shelf designed Class A estimate for the 3 intersections in Petawa. So it would be the Garrison intersection, the intersection, if people are familiar with Petawa, at the McDonald's or Victoria Street, where you turn right to go down to the town office in Petawa. And then the 3rd intersection is back at Murphy and Bourne. And of course, as everybody knows from committee, this Petawa Boulevard is high traffic area in the county. Is actually the highest traffic we have in the county. So the hope here is that by awarding it to AECom, they actually did the original environmental assessment a number of years ago, so they're quite familiar with the project. Again, this is just for the 3 intersections. This is not for an extra bridge or for widening of Petawa Boulevard. This is just to hopefully go with the recommended plan that AECom came back up with during the environmental assessment, which was a roundabout at the Garrison, a roundabout at Doran Street, and the actual improvements to the 4-way intersection at Petawa, Victoria, and Port House. So again, just to be clear, this is not the whole package. This is just those 3 intersections, and it's hoped by doing these improvements that would help alleviate some of the traffic problems on Petawa Boulevard. But again, as committee knows, Petawa Boulevard is massively over capacity during those number of times when base staff are coming and going from base. So with that, I'd certainly entertain any questions or comments, please.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Councillor Bennett, please. Oh.
Through you, Chair, to Lee. Lee, once they actually do the engineering on this, in your estimation, how much of this is going to stay if Petawa Boulevard is totally reconstructed?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Through you to Councillor Bennett. The goal here is to make sure that the consultant that we've hired, and they're aware from our RFP, that whatever improvements they make there, that it is available and it's able to tie into 4-laning and a double bridge later in life. So what engineers would call it is they're going to build it to ultimate, right? Which would be the roundabouts and the intersection will be sized accordingly to if the road was 4-lane later in life. So that's the ultimate goal, is to have everything in place that if later in life funding comes along for a second bridge and completion of 4-laning, that we will have all that in place. And another thing for committee is to next year, what's existing up there right now is going to be shaved and paved, because the road is past this it's past its lifespan, and something needs to be done. So unfortunately next year we've been in contact with the town of Petawa to make sure that if they have any underground that they should have it all done before next summer. So we'll see where that lays. But yeah, that's the plan, is to build these intersections to ultimate. And hopefully later in life funding will become available for a second bridge and the actual 4-laning of the whole area.
Okay, can I have a follow-up, Chair, please?
Yes, Councillor Bennett.
Lee, so as we move forward with the project, in pieces like this, any idea what the budget figure looks like for a pave and shave plus this?
My assumption on using the AECom stuff, which was the bridge and 4-lane and the whole thing and the 2 roundabouts and intersection, was at 19 million back in 2014. So assuming there was no bridge, so that's 7 million out of the picture, minimum, and there's no doubling of the road, so that's another 3 million. So you're looking at $12 million theoretically to do the 2 roundabouts and the intersection with all the improvements that are necessary. So, but again, that's our goal here, is to get this on the shelf design Class A estimate, so that when we come back to committee, hopefully next year, and ask if we want to go forward with this, these improvements, or again, we are hopeful that the government of Canada is going to release infrastructure money to restart the economy, similar to what Mr. Harper did back in 2007 and 2008. They released billions of dollars to restart the economy. So we're hopeful that if we have a shovel-ready project on the shelf, that's our goal.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Councillor Lynch, please.
Thank you, Chair. To Paul, County Road 51, if I'm not mistaken, we asked for a $26 million grant to make the entire from Portage Road to the base, and that was all turned down. So it's, I think what the answer to Dave was 26 million to get it all done at the end of the day.
That's correct, sir. That's Chair, if I may, that's the answer. But again, we continue to pursue that project.
Thank you. I was, I'm sorry, but I was always under the impression that it was between 22 and 24 million dollars. Now it's up to 26.
Yeah.
Better get it done soon. It'll be 35.
And if I may, all I go by is the 19 million that was identified in 2014 from ECOM, and then if you use time value money, it works out to 20 million or so. So, but yeah, it does obviously escalate every year.
Thank you. Anything else on this particular bylaw for engineering services? And then all in favor of the, Councillor Emo?
So again, just is there with the overall plan? I was trying to find it on my screen here, an older report. I have the impression there was some active transportation components. Will that be part of the consideration with this contract?
Perkins, I believe that he's inquiring about Heart and Shoulders.
Yeah, actually, in this case, this would actually be active transportation as per the 2014 EA. So again, the goal is to build it out ultimate, and once they have a Class A estimate, we can come back, and if we need to take away the active transportation or we need to make the roundabout smaller, that'll all be operational and committee decisions later in life. But right now, the goal is to go with the recommended intersections that were identified in 2014. So, and they do show active transportation. But again, where we're only doing the intersections, the active transportation would actually be coming and going to nowhere. But the room would be there for it later in life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And to contractors listening, I don't know where anybody's getting the idea that it's any more than 12 million.
Yeah, just away.
Yeah. Any other comments on the engineering service bylaw? All those in favor of the bylaw? That is carried. Thank you. We're on to item 17, a recommendation. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Emo. Councillor Bennett. Mr. Perkins, please.
Thank you, Chair, and through your committee. So this is an actual product of DMP and engineering sharing our executive assistant. So land use agreement with the Keatna Snowmobile Club. So the recommendation here is that the Operations Committee recommend that County Council pass a bylaw to rescind bylaw 816, being a bylaw for the execution of a land use agreement with Keatna Snowmobile Club and the Snow Country Snowmobile Association at the next session of County Council. And again, the background here is that County Council on January 27, 2016, adopted bylaw number 816 for the execution of a land use agreement with the Keatna Snowmobile Club and Snow Country Snowmobile Association, grant permission to enter upon and utilize a portion of County Road 51 roadlands for the purpose of operating a snowmobile trail. So with the development of the Algonquin Trail, bylaw number 106-17 was adopted, and on October 25th, 2017. So that grants permission for the Snowmobile Club to enter upon and utilize a portion of the Ottawa Valley Recreation Trail, which includes a section of the trail through the town of Petawa, moving snowmobilers off of the road allowance for the County Road 51. Therefore, the land use agreement dated January 27th, 2016 is no longer required. And I thank Evelyn and Craig Kelly for funding this one. So it's just rescinding an old law that has been revamped. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on this recommendation? Any questions or comments on this recommendation? Seeing none, all in favor of the recommendation? It's carried. Thank you. We're on to Infrastructure Division. Mr. Boehm, could you carry on with at item 18, please?
Certainly. Thank you, Chair Peckett, through you to committee. I have a very short report today. It's just for information purposes. The first one is our asphalt scratch coat paving tender. It was awarded through delegated authority through the warden and the CAO. As shown on page 101, we've received 4 tenders for it. It was awarded to Miller Paving. Their tender amount was $599,265.50. And that is showing up on our Appendix 2 with the capital variance report. And it's actually came in under budget, which is nice. We have a bit of a cost savings that we can use on other projects. The second one is the reconstruction of County Road 512 Foymount Road. We've had 3 tenders for this one. It was also awarded through, through delegated authority with the warden and CAO. The tender came in at $1,466,260.78. But as shown on our Appendix 2, the capital variance report, with our contract administration services, quality assurance testing and stuff that we have to do, the actual final number for this will be 1.8 million. And we'll be using cost savings and the tangible catchable assets to cover the cost of this one. The third item for information is C124 Cameron Culvert, located on Osborne Street. We had to do some emergency repairs on this. As committee recalls, this structure was designed by WSP Engineering and was replaced last year, 2019, by our county day labor crew. On June 4th of this year, staff from WSP conducted a performance review of the structure to see how it was performing. And at this time, it was noted that following the spring runoff, the riprap that we placed inside the culvert had washed out and the footings became exposed and were significantly undermined for the most length of the structure. This created an emergency situation that needed to be addressed as soon as possible. County staff met with WSP on site to assess the situation and come up with a methodology for the repair. WSP and county staff met virtually with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry to advise them of the situation and get their approval to complete their emergency repairs outside of their in-water works window. Fisheries and Oceans, the Department of Fisheries and Oceans Canada were also made aware of the emergency repairs, and the county day labor crew completed these repairs during the week of June 15th by placing a product called Tremmy concrete below the water line under the footings to stabilize them. Staff is currently drafting a letter to WSP requesting compensation for this emergency work, as their design should have taken into account the spring flows to prevent this situation. The final invoices are coming in, but the county has spent approximately $50,000 to date on these repairs, which includes staff time, equipment, rental, and materials. That's the end of the report. If anybody has any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee? Comments? I just make one. I don't know how they missed the problem with flow. That whole area, all the banks are Leda clay, slip clay, whatever kind of clay you want to call it. And even through the summer, the water running through there is always brown because it's continually eroding. And then, of course, in the spring, it erodes the banks there a lot faster, even to the point that in the graveyard there, some of the big, large pine trees have slipped into the Docker Creek and have had to be removed. So I certainly hope to continue to recover compensation for county staff to do that work. So thank you very much for that, Mr. Bang. No one else, any questions or comments? Okay, thank you. Then we're on to the Operations Division, number 19, from Mr. Bolduc, please.
Thank you, Chair Packett. And through you, I present the Operations Division report for August. Item number 1 in our summer operations is roadside mowing. The roadside mowing program is well underway. The first cut is complete, and additional mowing is continuing as needed. Item B is the annual pavement marking program. The pavement marking contract PWO 21611 with Trillium Pavement Marking was extended this year, and the contractor is making its way through the county, and will continue throughout the remainder of the construction season till completion. Item C is street sweeping. Previously reported that the contractor started on May 11th, and just for committee's information, they completed on June 4th, 2020. Item D is catch basin cleaning. And I previously reported the last committee meeting that they started on May 27th, and just to follow up, they completed on June 29th, 2020. Item E is our weed control program. And again, the county utilized Wagner Corporate Weed Control Incorporated. We have a 5-year contract with them. And work began on July 20th and was completed on July 24th, 2020. And all the public notices were published in the local papers. Item F is the Adopt a Road program. For committee's information, the program was put on hold on April 29th as a result of the COVID-19. And as a result of some work staff has done to put together a bulletin, we're able to restart the program on June 26th, and with additional safety measures, including masks and limiting the number of participants. Item number 2 is fleet management. The annual safety inspections. Work is continuing on the annual vehicle safety inspections. Reviewing the program, we anticipate that the fleet will be ready for the start of the upcoming winter season. Item 3 is tenders and quotations and tenders. Summary of the quotations received up to July 20th is attached in Appendix OP1. The tenders listed have been awarded under the authority of Director of Public Works and Engineering, Chief Administrative Officer, and also under the delegated authority as well. And I can pause there for some questions if anybody has any.
Thank you. Any questions? Mr. Bullock's report so far? Councillor Emo, please.
Thank you. Item E, 20 weed control. Can you remind us what exactly what that process is and what happens?
Certainly, through Chair Peckett to Councillor Emo. The weed control program is used to control hazardous and toxic weeds, i.e. example is poison ivy. And it's we use a selective herbicide approved by the federal government and applied under the rules put together from the province of Ontario. So we have identified areas throughout the county, and we do not spray all the roadsides. It's only particular spots where the weeds are generated, and the program is looking is successful at this time.
Supplementary, Councillor Emo?
Thank you, and just thank you for that. That's is there a certain number of meters we do a year, or kilometers, or is it based on reports from our road crews patrolling, or from me complaining? Just so I can have a little clarity on that.
Yeah, certainly. We do an analysis with staff, and we do any calls that come in from the public. We haven't, this year, I only received one call just about the spring program itself, not in particular a new area, but we do analysis of all the roads, and we, right now the current budget is 30,000. We have maxed that out, so we will be seeking additional funds, hopefully in the next year's budget. And I don't know if you have any other supplementary questions.
No, that's very good. Thank you. I feel comfortable. I've done my due diligence, and you have too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else in the report? Okay, moving on to bylaws, and then item 4, PWO 2020-19, roofing replacement and exterior wall repair for Covenant Patrol Garage. Need a mover and a seconder, please. Lynch. Emo. Baldock, please.
Yes, I'll read the recommendation that the Operations Committee recommend that contract PWO 2020-19 as submitted by IRVCon Limited, Pembroke, Ontario, for the roofing replacement and exterior wall repairs at the Cobden Patrol Garage in the amount of $187,075 plus HSTB approved, and further that a bylaw be passed to authorize the execution of the contract at the next session of County Council. Background on this item: the tender from IRVCon Limited, Pembroke, Ontario, was received in the amount of $187,075. The original tender was developed to be able to be delivered in either 1 or 2 years, depending on some of the benefits of the program and also the availability of funds. After review of the tender results for the project, it has been determined that the benefits of completing the project in a single year warrant allocating greater funds in 2020. Sufficient funds are available to be reallocated from surplus in other departmental capital projects, and a comparison of the 2020 project budget and projected costs, if awarded as a single year, is provided in the table provided. If there's any questions, I can answer them.
Questions or comments on the bylaw? Councillor Lynch.
Thank you, Chair. There's only one tender, Rich?
Yes, our analysis looked at the contractor pool that does this work in the area. It seems like a simple project, but there's actually quite a few different disciplines in it. IRVCon, they take on more complex projects. I believe they've taken on a project at the county administration building years ago. So really it's not big enough that the larger contractors with multi-disciplines would be coming out of Ottawa, but large enough for IRVCon, and they have the disciplines to be able to deliver the project. So that's our analysis of that.
Thank you.
Anyone else? And all in favor of the bylaw PWO 2020-19? In favor? Carried. Thank you. Item 5, PWO 2014-17, extension of fuel tender to WO Stinson and Sons Limited. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Keller, Councillor Wisniewski-Moore. Mr. Baldock, please.
Thank you, Chair Puckett. I'll read the recommendation. That the request for extension of contract PWO 214-17, supply and delivery of diesel fuel, gasoline, heating oil, and above ground storage tanks be approved for 1 year in accordance with the contract documents. And further, that Operations Committee recommend that a bylaw to authorize execution of the contract extension be passed at the next session of County Council. The background of this item is that the original tender was approved in 2014, and the contract does contain a provision to permit extension of the contract for additional 1 year periods, subject to satisfactory service, price, terms, and conditions. And this procurement follows the corporate policy GA01, and WO Stinson and Sons Limited has supplied fuel to the county for over 15 years and has provided exceptional service at that time. Staff recommends that the contract be extended for an additional 1 year term until August 2020-21.
Thank you. Questions or comments on the recommendation? Being none, all in favor? It's carried. Thank you. That's the end of your report from Mr. Baldock. So I need a mover and seconder for the report as a whole. Councillor Emo and Councillor Bennett. Questions, comments? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We're now moving on to new business. Mr. Perkins, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Through you. Under new business, with the Bourne Road Bridge being completed, the CAO has asked if we would like to have a ribbon cutting ceremony for that one, because it is a really important bridge to County Alice and of course the Laurentian Valley. So I just leave it out there for committee. If we would like to do that, it would be the next probably week or two, probably say 2 weeks from now, we can schedule it.
Thank you. Councillor Emo and then Councillor Lynch.
I think it's important to do that because there's too much information being flogged around, and so it's nice to tie up a project with a ribbon cutting and talk about how much it costs and who paid for it, and make sure people are aware of it. I think it's part of branding county projects, and then also informing the public about value for their dollars. So I'm a big fan of doing that on a regular basis. I know I'm going to be busy that day and won't be able to attend, but thanks for the invitation.
Thank you. Councillor Lynch, please.
I concur with Peter. If you remember, we had a delegation of probably 15 people that lived there that came to council to voice their opinions or give support of it. And I think with us being there, it shows that we've listened to them, and we get an opportunity to get a pat on the back.
Thank you. Any other comments? From what I'm hearing is there will be something arranged to have that done. Thank you. Any other new business? Councillor Wisniewski-Moore.
Hi. Okay, so I know that we all received a letter from a gentleman in Petawa about the bicycle trails, and I don't agree with what he's asking for, but I just wondered if we had responded to him, because I'm a strong believer in when somebody takes the time to ask a question that we should respond in some manner. But I am not supportive of what he's asking for, but I still think we owe him the decency of an answer. So I just wondered if we had done that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, there has been a response sent from Mr. Perkins to Mr. Tai. I believe how it's pronounced. If committee wants a copy of that, I'm sure that could be sent out, but it has been written and sent.
What did we say in the letter, Mr. Chair?
I'll have Mr. Perkins, he could,
Okay,
probably
thank you.
the easiest thing to do is we'll have it read out for committee.
Okay, or even if you send me a copy, just so I have it, so if I get anybody else commenting, then I know what's been told to him. And again, I don't agree with what he's asking for. Don't get me wrong. It's just that I believe in the common courtesy, and I just like to know as a member of this committee. So thank you, Mr. Chair. So a copy's fine. He doesn't have to read it if nobody else is. Just if I could have a copy, then I'll know what action has been taken. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I'll have Mr. Perkins send a copy out to all of committee. I think maybe all of county council should see that. So I think we'll ask Mr. Perkins if he can send it out to members of county council with the warden's approval.
Absolutely, that's not a problem.
Thank you. Anything else under new business? Councillor Bennett.
Thank you. It's actually not new business. I just need to be clarified here on what we're doing with the Laurentian Valley as far as responding to them over the Highway 148 rehabilitation, and where the county sits on the as far as the T intersection. I might have missed that. Maybe we've already spoken about it, but I just can't. I didn't write anything down to say this is what we're actually going to respond with. If you could, please, Lee.
It happened when we couldn't see you, Dave.
Oh, okay.
You couldn't hear what we were doing. I'll ask Mr. Perkins to respond. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and through you to committee. It was actually in my report, Councillor Bennett. But again, yes, thanks for bringing it forward. A moment. Yes, it's item number 5 in your package on page 2. So it was the Highway 148 rehabilitation. So attached as Appendix 4 is a correspondence from the Township of Laurentian Valley expressing concerns with the proposed T intersection at the corner of Highway 148 and County Road 40, which is Greenwood Road. So for those of you not familiar, that's the actual crossing over into Quebec from basically Pembroke over. And the township is requesting that the county review the intersection in order to provide the best road design possible to meet the needs of the community. My contention here as the Director of Engineering is this is an MTO controlled intersection, no different than Golden Lake, but at the request of Laurentian Valley, we can do an actual traffic count for them just to reestablish the numbers that MTO has done. But unfortunately, it is an MTO controlled intersection. So normally we wouldn't contradict the MTO's recommendation, but again, I leave this to committee for discussion, please. And Mr. Morrow had his hand up.
Mr. Morrow, please.
Thank you, Chair. Lee, can you tell us when the last traffic count was done?
Not offhand, sorry, no. I know the MTO has done their studies and stuff, so but we can do our own up-to-date traffic studies.
I think that's probably wise in this case. So if we want to be prepared to have a conversation with MTO, we have our own data as well. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Sure. We'll get that rolling as soon as possible.
Anything else under new business? No closed meeting. County Council meeting Wednesday, August 26th. Need a mover and seconder for confirmatory bylaw. Councillor Wisniewski Moore. Councillor Emo, all in favor? It's carried. Thank you very much. Be safe, folks. Hope to see you all in person soon. Thank you.
Chair.
Take care, everyone.